He ruled an empire, died in obscurity, and now, over 300 years later, his name is back in the headlines. Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb's ghost has returned not in reverence, but in rage. And India is once again divided. He's been dead for more than 300 years. His bones lie beneath a modest tomb in India's western plains. Yet today, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb Alamgir is at the center of a political storm, his memory resurrected not in reverence, but in rage. Aurangzeb the sixth, and perhaps most controversial emperor of the mighty Mughal dynasty. To some, a pious ruler, a skilled commander, a just administrator. To others, a tyrant, a destroyer of temples, a persecutor of faiths, not his own. In March 2025, his ghost once again stalked India's streets. This time through the anger of a crowd in Nagpur city, some 1,200 miles away from Delhi, India's national capital. Sectarian clashes erupted after right-wing Hindu nationalists demanded the demolition of his tomb. What sparked the unrest? A film Tarver portraying Aurangzeb as a ruthless oppressor of Hindus, especially the Marathas whose legacy now fuels modern Indian nationalism. I do not want to blame or criticize any movie, but due to Java, people's sentiments have been and anger is against Aurangzeb. Despite this, we must maintain law and order in Maharashtra. The irony is hard to miss. The man who ruled over nearly all of the Indian subcontinent, who sat on the richest throne in the world, chose to be buried in an unmarked grave, devoid of imperial splendor. His final wish to rest in humility. The Mughals were not just conquerors. They were artists, architects, philosophers. Akbar promoted religious dialogue. Shah Jahan built the Taj Mahal. But Aurangzeb, he broke from that mold. He was a complex figure, admired for his discipline and justice, yet feared for his cruelty. He imprisoned his own father, executed his brother Dara Shurko, and reimposed jizya, the tax, on non-Muslims. But to judge him solely by today's standards is to miss the full picture. In 1658, Aurangzeb took the throne by force. His rise was a Shakespearean saga of ambition and betrayal. In the early years of his reign, he ruled pragmatically. Hindu generals served in his court. Religious buildings of all kinds stood untouched. But by the 1680s, that balance tipped wars in the south, crackdowns on dissent, temples razed, executions carried out, including that of Guru Tegh Bardhan, the ninth Sikh guru, until 1679. Aurangzeb was no different from his predecessors. After that, there was a marked shift. He became more intolerant, more dogmatic. Was it politics? Was it belief? Maybe both. But we must remember this was an empire, not a democracy. Aurangzeb's transformation from pragmatic ruler to religious zealot is one of history's most contested shifts, from tolerating Hindus in his court to waging brutal wars against the Marathas and Sikhs. His later reign has become the stuff of legend and resentment for many. This makes him a symbol of oppression, a demon whose very presence in modern discourse still burns like a raw wound. Today, Aurangzeb's name is being rewritten, sometimes literally. The city of Aurangabad is now called Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar after the Maratha king's son killed by Aurangzeb's orders. His legacy has become a tool in India's culture war, one fueled by the rising tide of Hindu nationalism. Aurangzeb's grave should not be here. It shouldn't be here because of everything he did to Sambhaji Maharaj. Even our Muslim brothers should issue a statement saying that Aurangzeb's grave should not be in Nagpur. Hindu right-wing groups like the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and Bajrang Down argue that India must reclaim its history from the Mughal, from the British, from centuries of foreign rule. And in their telling, Aurangzeb isn't just a long-dead emperor. He's the ultimate villain for these groups. Erasing the memory of rulers like Aurangzeb is seen as a reclamation of India's true heritage. But that effort has not come without consequences. India's 200 million Muslims, many of whom are already facing growing marginalization, now find themselves caught in the crossfire of this cultural and political battle. Local Muslim resident Asif Qureshi said his hometown has never seen violence like that, which unfolded last month, condemning the clashes that convulsed the historically peaceful city. This is a stain on our city's history. The tension between rewriting history and remembering it as it was is at the heart of India's current crisis. Historians warn that reducing complex figures like Aurangzeb to mere symbols, heroes, or villains only erases the nuance of the past. History isn't meant to make us comfortable. It's meant to help us understand. Aurangzeb ruled in a world without democracy, without human rights as we know them. He's not someone to be celebrated, but nor should he be erased. India's soul lies in its contradictions. A Hindu temple beside a Muslim dargah, a Sikh Gurdwara down the road from a British-era church. This land is not just built on unity and diversity. It survived because of it. Perhaps the real question isn't what to do with Aurangzeb's tomb. Perhaps it's what to do with his memory. Will it divide India further or force the country to reckon with the messy truth of its past? History doesn't rest. In terms, it lives in how we tell it and who we blame for it. And in India today, the story of Aurangzeb isn't over. It's being written one protest, one film, one schoolbook at a time.